Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Episode 5 of the Manitoba Hockey Podcast here on gshow Productions, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. As you just saw their commercial, we'll pull up them as well down here, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. We're also brought to you by Make Canada Fasters and Tools, goaltenders, as well as Terrico. Thank you to them for continuing to support the coverage of Manitoba hockey here on the network, here on gshow Productions. We got a good one in store today. Gonna get a perspective from a goaltender that is, in fact, playing high school hockey for the first time this season, but is playing it for not as high school, a different high school. And Brady Hinther had a chance to, as you'll hear at the beginning, coach him in flag football. For the past 3 years, I've gotten a chance to know him, and knew he played Vix the year before, and saw he's playing on Miles Mack this season, so thought I'd give him a shout, knowing that he's a CJS student, and without further ado, let's get into what Brady had to say as he joined me earlier this morning on a Zoom call here on the Manitoba Hockey Podcast on gshow Productions for Episode 5. And it's someone I've actually had the pleasure of coaching in another sport in flag football, from QB to all-purpose type of player, to now talking about him as a goaltender, and Brady Hinther, goaltender for this year's Miles McDonald Buckeyes team. Brady, tell me how it came to be for you to join Miles Mack. Of course, you're a student of College Jean Sauvé, so yeah, how did it come to be for you to join this Buckeyes team?
Yeah, so pretty much after I got cut from College Jean Sauvé, the coach offered me, saying like if you wanted to go and join other high schools that you would be available to, and for one that he'd be reaching out to schools, and that I could also be reach out to schools if they needed a goaltender. And it just worked out with Miles Mack that since they had no goalies try out for their team, and I ended up making it.
So are you the only goalie on the roster right now? Do you have a backup?
No, there is another goalie.
There you go. Well, it's good that at least there's two of you on the
Yeah.
team, but I feel like that's quite the interesting process, right? I mean, it must have been tough to, not make your high school team that you go to, but what's that process been like of transitioning over into playing for a different high school while going to another one?
Um, it's been a little bit difficult, seeing as the drive for the practice is pretty far, as it is, depending on where it is, between 20 to 30 minutes, the drive. So normally I would have to leave school early, a little bit, like 15 minutes early, but other than that,
Yeah.
been fine.
Right on. What's the team been like so far? Obviously, the regular season for this Buckeyes team doesn't start until this Thursday, coming up against Leo Remillard. But what's it been like, getting accustomed, getting used to this year's Buckeyes team?
Yeah, it's been a little bit weird, seeing as normally I always went on to a team and I've known like at least like five players, compared to this year where I'm going into it knowing absolutely nobody. Um yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know. it's also like different because like most people there, like they all call me by like let's say my like last name, which I'm like
Right.
completely not used to.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, it's gonna take a bit of time to get used to that, but in terms of that, having this new experience for yourself, do you think there's an opportunity for growth as you as an individual here in terms of coming into this new situation and doing something you've never done before?
Yeah, I think there is. Since actually at Miles Mac, they have like like so a bunch of like the dads like played goalie. So I have like so many different views of like goalie coaches. And like a lot of them come on the ice with me to help me practice and like make me better. And I think that's gonna give me like a lot of growth.
Yeah, no, for sure. Having a bunch of different perspectives from people who've actually played the game is always huge. Have you been able to have that before? Stability with a goaltending coach? Because I know the year before this one, you played for the St. Vital Junior or the St. Vital Victoria's double A team, as I should say. Not sure if you guys had a goalie coach there or not, but how huge of a difference, like you just spoke to, do you feel that'll truly make this season for yourself?
Personally, like I've done like stuff out of my team with like a goalie coach, but like never with a team. Like we didn't have a goalie coach last year for the Vicks.
Right.
Um, I think that it'll make a very huge difference because it's a different perspective than my own, and they'll be like, of course, seeing me in the games.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure. And it's huge. Having that extra set of eyes to help you out to, help you through the game and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be great for you this season. But let the viewers at home know, Brady, what type of goaltender are you? Are you more of that butterfly goaltender, more of an old school goaltender? What type of goaltender is Brady Hinther out there on the
Uh, I'd say personally, I think I'm more of like a butterfly goalie. I'm mostly, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if I remember it correctly. I think you said, I'm not even gonna say it, but your favorite goaltender, is there a goaltender you look up to at all?
Yeah, Braden Holtby. He's
Yeah.
the reason I'm number 70. So I have his jersey number after him.
Right on,
Yeah.
right on. That's exactly who I was thinking, honestly, but I didn't want to be incorrect. But yeah, Braden Holtby, of course, Stanley Cup champion in the past. And yeah, I mean, what do you feel, I guess, is the biggest thing for yourself this year outside of your play that you could bring to this Miles Mac team? Or do you feel like it's going to be, the biggest addition to yourself to this team will be your play?
Um, yeah, I'd say just like I don't know. Probably like my maybe like just like my stability, like being like consistent in the net. I don't know. Yeah, I'm always gonna give you a good showing normally.
Nice, right on. Well, I think the Miles Mac faithful must be excited to see what this Miles Mac team can do this season. Have you had a chance to play any exhibition games with the team at this point?
Uh, yes. So we just did a preseason tournament. We got third place in it. Uh, I went in my games. I went 2-0. And we went 2-1 in the tournament. The only game we lost was to an like the A division team. It was an A division team, and we're B division. So,
Yeah.
and it was 3-2. So,
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good for a Winnipeg Free Press Division team going up against that A Division Platinum Promotions team, like you said. But obviously, there could be a bit of a difference in the levels from Double A to high school this season. It's early so far. Of course, you've had some good success to start off here, like you said, 2-0. But what's that transition been like from going to, the Double A level to now B Division and even A Division competition in high school?
yeah, it's been a not that big of a change because I have played in the past high school with the rookie teams, but it is still a big difference playing compared to playing mostly like with and against like AAA kids. Like there's normally like at least five on each team. And yeah, that is different, but
Well, of course, The real game is going to be starting soon. This team going up against the Leo Remillard Renards. But got to ask you, Brady, one last question here before I let you go. Obviously, it's always nice to strive for a championship, but you're coming into a new situation with a bunch of players you've never played with before, all players you
Yeah.
never played with before. What's the big goal for you here? I guess in your final year of minor hockey here in high school hockey.
Um, I'd say, well, for one, it would be nice to win it all, but I'd say mostly just to like beat Collège Jean Sauvé would be my biggest goal.
Right. I forgot to ask about that actually. How surreal, I guess, is that going to be when you face off against them, whether you're in net or not, knowing that a few of the players on that team.
Yeah, it'll be definitely pretty like honestly funny because like I'm so used to like playing with all of them, but now I'm gonna be playing against them. It'll be definitely interesting.
Do you think you're going to have the edge knowing some of their tricks and secrets?
Well, I definitely know everything about them since I played with all of them before. So,
Right.
uh, yeah,
Well, that'll be a fun one for sure when that
yeah,
one happens. I'm not sure when it's happening or when it's going to go down on the schedule, but when it does, I'm sure it'll be a great experience for you, Brady, and a great experience for you this year, getting to try something different. Playing for another high school in the Miles McDonald Buckeyes. Best of luck this year coming up, and thanks for doing this, man.
yeah, no problem.
And Brady Hinther joining this edition of the Manitoba Hockey Podcast here in Ep.5, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cars and Memorabilia, Terrico Goaltenders, and Make Cannon Fasteners and Tools. Visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today, as well as checking out their website at McCannonFasteners.shop. They're your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. And yeah, for Brady's Miles Mac Buckeyes, if we take a look at the upcoming schedule for them, of course, it's going to be the opener in their season opener this Thursday coming up against Leo Remillard. Be sure to check out the full stats, scores, schedule, whatever else at Winnipeg HSHL.ca. As for what we're going to do next, we're going to throw it to the Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia commercial again, and I'll be back for some more news, some breakdowns of what's been happening from a bunch of teams from around the amateur hockey scene here in Manitoba. You're watching the Manitoba Hockey Podcast here on G Show Productions. More coming up after this commercial break. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Welcome back, everybody, into the Manitoba Hockey Podcast here on G Show Productions on gshow.ca, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Goaltenders, Terrico, as well as Canada Fasteners and Tools. Just getting into, leagues from around the province here as we're underway into the regular season for all of these leagues. Starting off with the Manitoba Bisons, the women's hockey team. They were at home for back-to-back weekend series, two-game series against the Alberta Pandas, the University of Alberta Pandas, as they started their U Sports regular season play. The Bisons dropped the first game 1-0, but bounced back strong in the next day as they end up winning 4-2. They'll be back in action on the road coming up next week, or this week coming up on Friday and Saturday against the Regina Cougars. As for the men's Bisons, as we look for them here. There we go. They start off their season with a 0-2 record. This team's lost 5 games in a row, 5 of their last 6. But, of course, going up against the Manitoba Moose and losing in a respectable score there, 5-2. But against the Alberta Golden Bears, University of Alberta Golden Bears, they end up losing 7-3 and 4-0. They'll be back in action at home for the first time since September 28th to face off against the Regina Cougars at 7 p.m. this Friday and 5 p.m. on Saturday. As for the Manitoba Junior Hockey League standings, there's no more undefeated teams in the league at this point. The Selkirk Steelers lost their first game of the season as they were the only remaining undefeated team this past Saturday, 4-3 at home against the Neepawa Titans. Pretty great start, though, for Selkirk before dropping their first game. A 10-1 record. Unreal goals for, goals against differential, as you can see. As for the Neepawa Titans, just over 500 right now. A team that is letting quite a bit of goals, but a team that has shown that they can compete with the best of them in this league and find themselves in a top 3 spot in the West Division. The top teams right now, as you can see, top 2 from each division, the Steelers and Pistons, as well as the Blizzard and Kings, but teams like the Flyers and Titans knocking on the door of those top 2 spots in those divisions. For full MJHL news, visit their website at mjhlhockey.ca. On to the Manitoba U18 AAA Hockey League. The Winnipeg Bruins and Parkland Rangers enjoy the perks of being in first place at this point in the season, both with an identical record. The Bruins with the best goal differential in the league right now. The 2 teams right behind them in that category, the Winnipeg Wild and last year's champions and the Brandon Wheat Kings. Speaking of the Wheat Kings, they dropped their first regular season game in over 40 games, of course, going about 43 or 42, 0-1 last season. Only loss they had was in extra time, so ending quite the streak, quite the run for the Brandon Wheat Kings. With that, and finally on to the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, as we talked about and as you can see on the screen right here. Just taking a look at it. I guess I do not have it, actually, but as for, the A Division in the B Division and the C Division in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. I'm just going to take a look here because this looks a bit different than from when I put it in. As we take a look. So what I did here is I put Platinum Promotions in the middle. Oak Park, Stonewall, and Westwood all starting off with W's. As for JH Bruns, they'll be back in action coming up tomorrow against the Steinbach Sabres for Stonewall. They'll also be back in action facing off against John Taylor's. So John Taylor looking to get back in the win column early here, and Stonewall looking to stay in that win column and go 2-0. The rest of the action this week, as you can't see all of it on the screen, is going to involve the Lord Selkirk Steelers playing against the River East Kodiaks, 4 p.m. on Thursday. And then there's 2 games on Friday, John Taylor taking on Oak Park, and the St. Paul's Crusaders, defending champions, taking on the J.H. Bruns Broncos. As for the B Division, which is the Winnipeg Free Press Division, that's on the very left of your screen right now. As we can see, Pierre-Elliott Trudeau, the Shaftesbury Titans, and the Collège Belleville Barracudas all start off with a win. Action puck dropped in the league last week, of course. For the rest of this week, you can't see the rest of the games here on the screen currently, but as mentioned, it'll be outside of what you see on the screen on the left side of the screen as you're looking at now. It'll be Leo Remillard taking on the Miles Mac Buckeyes at Southdale Community Center. The Sanford Sabres taking on the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Canadiens as well as on Thursday. And then 2 games on Friday to end things off for Winnipeg Free Press. Division play this week as the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles take on the Shaftesbury Titans at Dutton Memorial Arena. And in Ile-des-Shane, the Gabriel Roy Cavaliers will take on the College Belleville Barracudas as Belleville looks to start their season off 2-0. And as for the C Division, it has not started as of yet, but it is starting today at 4 p.m. as the Kildonan East Riviers taking on the Louis Riel Voyageurs. Puck drops, of course, at 4, like I said. Rest of the week's action, a game on Wednesday, a game on Thursday, and at least 2 games on Friday in the league. Let's pull up the full schedule. By the way, if you want to check out news from around this league, check out Winnipeg gshow.ca. But yeah, in terms of the games played on Friday, there's only going to be 2, as you see on the screen here. Pinawa taking on Linden Christian, and Glenlawn taking on Churchill. Action also starts today in the Manitoba Women's High School Hockey League. So we'll have updates on what went down there coming up on next week's edition of the Manitoba Hockey Podcast. This is about going to do it for this episode. We're going to throw it to one more transition. I'll be back for some final words here on the network. Well, you've made it to the end of this edition of the Manitoba Hockey Podcast here on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Thanks to Brady Hinther for coming on the show and being the guest for this week's episode. We're looking to have more high school hockey players on the show as this hockey season rolls along here in Manitoba in 2024-2025. So stay tuned for that in our future episodes. Want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning into this one as well. If you enjoyed this one and you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads, either this podcast or anything else we release here on the network. We're going to be releasing our full schedule for this week on our website very soon. That'll be up at some point this afternoon, so stay tuned for that, as we got plenty of great action coming up on tap this week on the network. 4 hockey games, MMJHL, 3 of them, one of them being, well, actually only 3 games coming up this weekend as the MFHL hits pause on their season for the time being. And yeah, in terms of our sponsors, thank you to them in Make Cannon Fasteners and Tools, Terrico Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for sponsoring another edition of this podcast and the Manitoba Hockey Podcast. As for when this podcast comes out, as I should say, for episode 6, that's going to come next week on Tuesday. Stay up to date on our social media pages, as we'll be dropping the details of the episode there, and on our website as well next week at gshow.ca. But until then, folks, I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth, giving you the salute, peacing out, and waving so long on this Tuesday morning. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Have a wonderful and safe week, as well as a wonderful and safe weekend. And until next week for all new Manitoba Hockey Podcast guests and news, we'll see you then, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Take care.